Hello, this is Professor Dolan. The purpose of this tutorial is to demonstrate the difference between popular and scholarly literature. We start with a search on memory and traumatic events in the database Academic Search Complete. Originally, we have 533 results, which is all of the results that contain those terms. As we scroll down, it shows us that most of them are in academic journals, but some are in magazines and newspapers. And we're going to take a look at those popular articles first. So I'm going to check magazines and newspapers. And now we have 29 results. We'll take a look at the first one, False Memories Conjured in Sleep. It's in New Scientist magazine, which might sound like a peer-reviewed journal, but we know that it isn't because we've checked magazines and newspapers. And notice here it does give us the author's name. However, it doesn't give us any more information about the author. Notice how the article is fairly short. It does not have any footnotes or endnotes or any references, and it has no reference list. So this would be a good magazine article. Let's go back to the result list, and we'll take another look at another popular article. This one is The Church Can Help Survivors of Torture. The journal is Network News, and it also gives us the name of the authors here. Let's go into this. This article is a little bit longer, and it actually tells us a little bit more about the authors, both here and at the end of the article. Here's the article, and it has a nice feature where it gives resources, and notice they're advocates for survivors, Amnesty International, a Center for Victims of Torture. So this is clearly aimed at the public and a subset of the public who has experienced torture. It also has a list of helpful books. So this is a very nice article, and here is more information about the authors. But while it makes assertions of fact, it does not provide any references to support those facts. Let's go back to the result list now. And we are going to take a look instead at peer-reviewed or academic journals. So I'm unchecking magazines and newspapers. And checking academic journals. And we're again going to look at two articles. The first we will look at is this. Notice that it tells you here's the Journal of Experimental Psychology, and here are the authors. Here's the full text. And notice that up here it gives a little bit more information about the authors, what institutions they're from, and it actually tells more about them down here. There's also an abstract, which is a summary of what the article is. And as we briefly look through the article, here's their method. They tell you exactly what they did so it can be replicated. Their data, more data, formulas, tables, more data, formulas, tables, a discussion, and here is the long reference list. So you can see that this article is quite different. We'll go back to the result list and look at another article. And this one is Memory Distortion for Traumatic Events in Frontiers in Psychiatry. Notice that here again with the authors, they give us a little bit more information about them. It gives us keywords about the article. Now this article is fairly short. It's only 2 pages long, but what's very interesting about this article is that a 2-page article has a reference list almost a page long. So thank you for your time, and this should be a good illustration of the difference between peer-reviewed and popular literature.